I have to share with you that I did a thing. I rarely make my way to synagogue on Saturday because I am a lazy Hebrew who likes my weekends and hanging out, doing yoga, sleeping in, all the fun things that I typically will do on a Saturday afternoon. But alas, I felt it only too appropriate to make my way out of the house and put on a collared shirt and pray. I've been wrapping tefillin, like I've mentioned in my last episode, a few more times than usual, and I figured let's make the leap and show up in synagogue and do my thing. It's a strategic endeavor to figure out how late is appropriate to show up and still be on time, so to speak. And since prayers start at 9 sharp, I made sure I was there by 9:30 so I wasn't too late. But I am not a regular Jew. My last name is Katz, which stands for Cohen, and I am of the priest class, a descendant of Aaron, and therefore when I show up at synagogue here in Eretz Israel, I have the responsibility to duchen. When I arrive at synagogue as a Cohen, everyone turns and looks. Not because I'm sneaking in late and trying not to be noticed, but because they know me from the periodic visits that I make. And so a smile rises across the rabbi's face, and I find myself quickly being ushered outside. I just arrived for them to kick me out. What's the deal? But they wash my hands because I am a high priest, and they say to the front. And I take off my shoes, and I cover my head with my cloak, my prayer shawl, my talit, and I turn around kind of looking like a ghost with my hands up in a Spock-like Kohanic blessing. And I get to do the greatest gift that Am Yisrael has empowered the Kohanim. Levarech et Am Yisrael ba'ahava. The Kohanic blessing that I send out to my fellow Hebrews blesses the people of Israel with love. I'm a hippie at heart, so this speaks right to my kishkis, but I very much am enamored by the fact that I get to bless my people with love. What an appropriate blessing to give in a time of war. Right now there's warplanes flying overhead, and there's missiles that landed last night and took the lives of too many of my fellow Israelis. From Arad, Dimona, up to the north of Israel, and most recently in Tel Aviv, we are at war, we are being bombed, and we are also attacking our enemies. It's a give and take, it's a punch for punch, it's a back and forth, deciding the fate of the Middle East. And here in the middle, in the land of Israel, I am trying to maintain the sanity of a man who lost all his work in tourism yet again, and a father who loves his daughter and who wants to protect her psyche from the fear that can creep up into our souls, that can overwhelm our children. I'm trying to be a husband to my wife who I love dearly and who I am trying to support, and all these different factors coming into play as I cover my head and close my eyes and sing out the call and response of the priestly Kohanic blessings. In addition to this wonderful ritual that I get to partake in, I get called up first to the Torah. This guy who doesn't show up in synagogue for 6 months gets to stroll in the front door and have one of the Levites wash my hands. And a good friend of mine from the community laughed and joked that I might have gotten lost over the last 6 months, and that's why I haven't been arriving. And he knows perfectly well that I live all of 30 seconds away from the synagogue. But it was a warm smile with just enough humor and sass to make me feel welcomed and also a touch admonished for not having been there the last few months. And I told him I needed training wheels once again to remember the priestly blessings, and we smiled at each other. And I could appreciate the fact that him as a religious Jew and me as a guy trying my best could pray together. So he washed my hands, and I covered my head, and I blessed my people with ahava, and I rose to the Torah, made an aliyah. It's the third book of the Torah that we began reading this week, Vayikra, and it's all about the priestly blessings. Korban, korban, sacrifice, sacrifice. And I had literally just said to my daughter the other day, in the old days we would take sacrifice, and the word for sacrifice is korban, in order to get kiruv, close. Closeness and sacrifice are connected through the same Hebrew letters. These words are connected for a higher reason. And it is no coincidence these two words are connected. Rather, God's rhyme and reason have brought them together. The sacrifices once upon a time we used to make at the temple would be there to cleanse our sins and allow us a little spiritual purification. And these days there is no temple. And so synagogue is a replacement, so to speak, of that ritual that no longer exists. And yet, nonetheless, we read in the Torah this week of the priests, the Kohanim, like Amir, who rarely show up in synagogue, but these priests are treating the meat and treating the sacrifice and taking their responsibilities to the utmost seriousness in order that God can be served. And so the priests, the Kohanim, would take the korban and wash the korban and burn some of the korban and spill the blood. And it was thematically very appropriate for me to hear this message at this time. And I feel the Torah sometimes was written for me so that I could remember. I've said before to my guests that Jews don't do history, we do memory. And so I try to remember that I am a Cohen, and I try to remember the priestly blessings, and I try to remember to get my butt to synagogue a little bit more often than once every 6 months. And my friends are there to make jokes and remind me that I am not just a regular member of my community, but I am a priest, and therefore I have a responsibility, achayut, to the acher, to the other. Ironically, those two words are linked, responsibility and other. And so it's not just about me and my relationship to my creator and my community, but it is my relationship as a priest to give blessings and to receive blessings. I take this sense of responsibility with a touch of hope, and I'm sharing my words with you here and now to convey that conviction and hope for the future and hope for my people and hope that I can fulfill my personal responsibilities as a mouthpiece of my nation, as a Cohen who needs to both receive blessings and give them, and a man who must do his best on behalf of his daughter, his wife, his community, and to the Torah that was written for him. Thank you for listening. I wish you well. L'chaim to life. May we emerge from this dark period with a more enhanced sense of hope on the horizon. L'chaim to life.